Prehistoric Hongshan materials, Māori Jade, stone artifacts, and Hongshan Pottery. The ancestors of the Māori people of New Zealand are believed to have crossed vast oceans in ancient times before settling in New Zealand. Following the traditions of their forebears, later generations quarried a local jade material to create ornaments. This stone is known as New Zealand Jade, or Māori Jade. This particular piece of Māori Jade belongs to our association's vice-chairman Mr. Chan from the Hong Kong branch. It displays what we identify as the distinctive tool marks within tool marks characteristic of the Hongshan culture. The gentleman pictured here is a Māori tribal chief, with his hand resting on a jade cong that has been passed down through his ancestors. This jade cong is made of brown-skinned jade associated with the Liangzhou culture and is believed to possess a high-tech memory coating. According to Māori descendants, their ancestors migrated from China in prehistoric times. Around 5 or 6 years ago, they traveled to China in the hope of tracing their ancestral roots and reconnecting with their origins. From our perspective, it is immediately apparent that the Māori represent a branch descended from the Hongshan culture. Yet, among China's many museums dedicated to prehistoric cultures including Hongshan, Liangzhou, Sangxingdui, Qijia, Longshan, and numerous others, not a single institution sought to engage with these Māori visitors who wished to reconnect with their ancestral heritage. Only the Nanjing Museum welcomed them and provided an exhibition opportunity. The Māori delegation ultimately left China disappointed. If authentication relies solely on observing surface patina, weathering, mineral staining, crystal alteration, and similar features, how can one recognize that the Māori are descendants of a branch of the Hongshan culture among all the peoples of the world? Only the Chinese Hongshan culture is traditionally associated with jade cong. Yet the Māori not only possess jade cong, but their jade artifacts also exhibit the Hongshan-style tool marks within tool marks. Furthermore, that brown-skinned jade cong represents an important artifact form within early Chinese civilization. Our association believes that only we fully understand this connection. We emphasize the use of the 12 irreplicable Hongshan tool marks as criteria for authenticating prehistoric Hongshan artifacts. Through these diagnostic features, we seek to rediscover elements of Hongshan civilization that may have spread to different parts of the world. Among the many forms of Hongshan artifacts, some were occasionally carved from stone rather than jade. Although relatively uncommon, we believe these examples can still be confidently identified and classified. According to our interpretation, the sun god's extraterrestrial beings created life on Earth and genetically modified living organisms. To leave a message for future generations, they carved representations of these successful embryos using jade, stone, and other materials. This black stone dragon embryo artifact was still partially covered with traces of soil when it first came into my hands. For authentication purposes, I carefully cleaned the object, removed the sediment lodged within its carved grooves, and photographed every angle under strong lighting in order to document its tool marks. After enlarging the photographs, I discovered clear prehistoric manufacturing traces and extracted close-up images to share. This kind of authentication research is both fascinating and rewarding. What prehistoric tool marks did I discover? There are obvious examples of tool marks within tool marks as well as straight-line drilled hole workmanship, which, in our opinion, conclusively identify this as a Hongshan artifact. Although the carving of this black stone dragon embryo is relatively simple, its form is by no means crude. The workmanship is clearly visible, the stone possesses a deep black luster, and with handling it becomes increasingly glossy. It is truly impressive and reflects the artistic talent of the Hongshan ancestors. During the prehistoric Hongshan period, ordinary people who lacked access to jade carved their ritual objects from pottery instead. According to our research, they mixed pottery clay with nickel derived from meteorites, strengthening the ceramic materials so that the finished objects became harder and could survive for thousands of years. The Hongshan pottery artifacts displayed in national museums today are, in our view, composed of clay containing nickel. Consequently, they exhibit slight magnetic properties, a fact that museum curators generally neither recognize nor understand. We believe our association's research has advanced further than that of these institutions and offers a more complete understanding of the true nature of prehistoric Hongshan culture. Naturally, if one claims that Hongshan pottery is slightly magnetic because it contains nickel, most people simply refuse to believe it. Modern observers find it difficult to imagine that prehistoric people could manufacture pottery while intentionally incorporating nickel into the clay. Many people are unaware that the Hongshan ancestors had already mastered the use of fire for cooking food. It is therefore even harder for them to imagine that these people also possessed the knowledge to construct kilns and produce fired pottery. As we continue to interpret the messages embodied in various Hongshan artifacts, we increasingly realize that the wisdom and civilization of the Hongshan ancestors were far more advanced than we have commonly imagined. Therefore, we should approach the study of the true Hongshan culture with humility and an open mind.